The galaxy thought Earth was just a backwater planet, a relic of a forgotten age, a world clinging to its dying sun, its peoples too fractured to unite, its technology too primitive to matter. But when the first Earth warship cut through the void like a sharpened blade, everything changed, and the galaxy never saw it coming. The silence that greeted Earth's first interstellar broadcast was deafening. No one responded to the transmissions. No alien fleet sent emissaries or demands. They simply ignored the blue planet, assuming it was nothing more than a primitive curiosity, not a player in the cosmic game. That was their mistake. The warship, the ISS Resolve, was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. It wasn't the biggest, fastest, or most elegant ship. It was rough around the edges, patched and reinforced by generations of human ingenuity and necessity. But it was a promise forged in steel and fire. Humanity didn't beg. Humanity fought. Captain Liana Reyes stood on the bridge of the Resolve, her gaze fixed on the swirling stars outside. The ship's sensors picked up distant signals, alien fleets maneuvering in the shadow of the Orion Rift, unaware their moment of dismissal was about to end. She breathed deeply, the weight of the mission heavy but steady in her chest. "We're not here to ask for permission," Reyes told her crew, her voice calm but resolute. "We're here to make it clear that Earth commands respect. Our warships don't beg, they enforce." The Resolve's first jump through hyperspace was a thunderclap against the quiet of space, a declaration that Earth was awake, armed, and ready. The galaxy's reaction was immediate and brutal. The Thalkar Coalition, the largest and most influential alien power, dispatched their fleet, a colossal armada of shimmering cruisers and dreadnoughts, designed to intimidate and annihilate. They intended to remind Earth of its place, a minor world, a footnote in galactic politics. But Captain Reyes was ready. The Resolve, though outnumbered, was a beacon of Earth's defiant spirit. Its hull bore the scars of countless battles back home, guerrilla conflicts, orbital defences, and covert missions. It was not just a warship. It was a testament to humanity's survival against impossible odds. As the Thalkar fleet closed in, the Resolve's weapons powered up, magnetic railguns, plasma turrets, and newly developed gravity well projectors designed to disrupt enemy formations. "Engage all systems," Reyes ordered. "Let them know we don't beg." The battle was swift, brutal, and unlike anything the galaxy expected. The Resolve struck first, its railgun salvo piercing the lead cruiser's armour with deadly precision. Plasma turrets lit up enemy vessels, cutting swaths through their ranks. Gravity wells twisted space around enemy ships, throwing their formations into chaos. The Thalkar commanders underestimated humanity's resolve and the ingenuity embedded in their ships. The fight was not just about technology, it was about heart, spirit, and a refusal to be dominated. As the battle raged, the Resolve's communications officer intercepted transmissions from other species, whispers of disbelief and alarm. The word was spreading. Earth fought like a cornered predator, unyielding and unforgiving. After hours of combat, the Thalkar fleet retreated, battered and humiliated. The silence that had once greeted Earth's transmissions was replaced by urgent chatter and calls for reinforcements. But Earth's message was clear, resonating across the void: humanity doesn't beg. Earth's warships make that very clear. Captain Reyes stood before her crew once more, the stars reflected in her eyes. "This is only the beginning," she said. "They thought we would plead, that we would kneel, but we stand, we fight, and we will not be ignored." The Thalkar Coalition's retreat was not the end of the story. It was the opening salvo in a conflict the galaxy had neither anticipated nor prepared for. The message from Earth echoed in the corridors of every council chamber and warship bridge. Humanity did not beg, did not submit, and certainly did not fear. Instead, Earth's warships forged ahead, bolstered by a people who had survived against all odds and were now ready to claim their place among the stars. Captain Liana Reyes sat in the command center of the ISS Resolve, now docked at the sprawling orbital shipyards orbiting Mars. The ship had been patched, refitted and enhanced with scavenged technology and Earth's own innovations. The scars from the battle against the Thalkar were visible, a reminder of the victory and the price it cost. "Weapon systems upgraded and tested," said Lieutenant Arun Patel, the ship's chief engineer. his hands flying across the controls as he brought up diagnostics. The new railgun capacitors can fire twice as fast and with greater force. Gravity well projectors are more stable and can now disrupt larger enemy formations. Reyes nodded, her eyes scanning the tactical displays. Good. The galaxy won't wait for us to catch up. We need every advantage. Across Earth, the ripple effects of the Resolve's victory began to transform society. No longer the isolated backwater, Earth had become a beacon for thousands of colonies scattered across the solar system. Colonists, miners, scientists, and veterans alike looked to the stars with newfound hope and determination. New fleets were assembled, built in record time using every scrap of metal, every ounce of energy humanity could muster. Earth's industrial complexes hummed day and night, as shipyards birthed frigates, destroyers, and cruisers, each vessel a symbol of defiance and ambition. Meanwhile, in the shadowy chambers of alien governments, panic and scheming erupted. The Thalkar Council, humiliated by their defeat, convened in emergency session. Lord Krax, a towering figure with mottled blue skin and glowing red eyes, slammed his fist on the council table. "We underestimated them," he growled. "These humans fight with savage intelligence and unbreakable will. We must crush their fleet before they grow stronger." "But the humans are not alone," hissed Ambassador Trelnara of the Veridari. "Their colonies are growing, and their technology evolves faster than we can understand. We should consider diplomacy." Krax's eyes blazed. "Diplomacy is weakness. We crush, or we perish." Back on the Resolve, Captain Reyes was already preparing for the storm ahead. Intelligence reports revealed that a coalition of alien powers, the Thalkar, Veridari and others, were secretly assembling a massive fleet near the Perseus Rift, planning a coordinated strike to extinguish humanity's rising flame. The crew knew the stakes were high. Every pilot trained relentlessly, every engineer worked tirelessly. There was no room for error. Lieutenant Jessa Kim, a sharp-eyed tactical officer, pointed at the star map during a briefing. "The enemy fleet is estimated to be 5 times our size. They expect to overwhelm us with sheer numbers and superior firepower." Reyes met her gaze, unflinching. "Then we don't meet them head-on. We hit their supply lines, sabotage their reinforcements, and force them to fight on our terms." "Guerrilla tactics in space," Jessa said, intrigued. "Exactly," Reyes smiled grimly. "They think Earth's warships beg for mercy. They'll learn we don't just fight. We survive, adapt, and strike back harder." Weeks passed as Earth's fleet struck like shadows, hidden run attacks, stealth raids on supply convoys, and daring rescues of besieged colonies. Each success chipped away at the Coalition's confidence and logistics. At the same time, Earth forged new alliances with smaller star systems, once ignored or subjugated by the galactic powers. These newfound friends provided intelligence, resources, and ships, swelling the human-led fleet. One evening, as the Resolve patrolled the outer edges of the Solari Belt, Captain Reyes reflected on how far humanity had come. "We don't beg," she whispered to herself, "and we never will." The stars outside the viewport seemed to pulse with promise. Humanity's warships were no longer a warning. They were a reckoning. The solar winds carried whispers of war, from the sprawling shipyards of Earth to the fringes of human colonies in the outer systems. Every word, every movement pulsed with urgency. The coalition of alien powers, Thalkar, Veridari and others, was no longer content with piecemeal skirmishes or failed intimidation. They were assembling a force unlike anything seen in this sector of the galaxy, intent on crushing the human spirit and ending Earth's rise before it could become a threat. Captain Liana Reyes stood on the bridge of the ISS Resolve, her expression steely, her mind racing through the intelligence reports streaming in from fleet sensors and allied spies. "Estimated coalition fleet strength?" she asked. Lieutenant Jessa Kim, the tactical officer, tapped a few controls and projected a holomap into the air. The display shimmered with countless vessels arrayed like a sea of shadows. Over 1,000 capital ships, thousands of fighters, support vessels in the tens of thousands. "They're amassing at the Perseus Rift," Jessa answered grimly. "They expect a decisive engagement." Reyes narrowed her eyes. "And they expect us to cower." But Earth had never been about submission. The Resolve's crew had spent months refining strategies born from humanity's unique history. They were not the fastest, nor the most elegant in technology, but what they lacked in sophistication they made up for in adaptability, resolve, and a dogged refusal to beg or yield. "We'll divide and conquer," Reyes announced in the fleet briefing later that day. "Their sheer numbers are overwhelming, but their coalition is fragile. Old rivalries simmer beneath their unity. We'll exploit that." A ripple of murmurs spread among the assembled commanders. It was a dangerous gambit, but the only viable path. Meanwhile, the Thalkar Council debated furiously. "Humanity fights like cornered wolves," Lord Krax growled, "but their cunning may be their downfall. They will try to pit us against each other." Ambassador Trelnara countered smoothly. "Then we must reinforce our alliances, root out dissent and strike together. We cannot afford fractures now." The council chamber's tension crackled, a powder keg ready to explode. Back on Earth, the planetary defense grid hummed with preparations. Factories churned out new warships, weapon systems were upgraded, and engineers pored over alien technology scavenged in previous battles, reverse engineering and improving it. At the same time, political leaders grappled with the reality that Earth's future was no longer a matter of local governance, but of galactic diplomacy and war. On the USS Resolve, Captain Reyes met with her senior officers. "Intel suggests the Coalition Fleet's command is divided. The Thalkar want a direct assault, the Veridari prefer a slow siege, the mercenaries only want profit." Reyes tapped the holomap. "We'll hit their supply lines, cut off their fuel and ammunition, force their hand." Lieutenant Aaron Patel smiled, fingers twitching as he reviewed new weapon schematics. "Our new plasma torpedoes can strike from beyond their sensor range. We can cripple their logistics before the battle even begins." The first strike came under the veil of darkness. A squadron of stealth frigates, piloted by veterans hardened by years of fighting on Earth's volatile frontiers, slipped through the outer perimeter of the Coalition's fleet. Their mission: sabotage key supply depots on a moon orbiting one of the Coalition's primary staging worlds. The operation was a ballet of precision and daring. Explosions rocked the surface installations, cutting fuel lines and destroying munitions caches. The stealth frigates vanished back into the void before the Coalition could mount a meaningful response. This small victory rippled across the fleet, bolstering morale. Captain Reyes addressed the Resolve's crew. "This is a war of endurance and will. They think they can overwhelm us with numbers and firepower, but we have something they don't: the will to survive and the refusal to beg." Her voice carried through the corridors into every heart aboard the ship. Yet, even as Earth's forces struck hard, the Coalition was not idle. New alliances were forged in secret, and new weapons developed in shadowy labs. The war was becoming a crucible, a test of not just technology and tactics, but of spirit. Reyes stared at the stars, feeling the weight of command. "They'll come," she said softly, "and when they do, Earth's warships will be ready." The stage was set. The gathering storm approached and humanity stood poised, not as victims, but as victors in the making. The calm before the storm was thin and fragile, like ice over a raging ocean. The Coalition fleets gathered, their numbers swelling beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Star System blinked out as staging grounds became battlegrounds, and every sensor on Earth's warships pulsed with anticipation of the inevitable. Captain Liana Reyes stood on the bridge of the ISS Resolve watching the fleet assembled behind them. Hundreds of ships of all sizes, from nimble fighters to hulking dreadnoughts, were ready to carry humanity's defiance into the maw of war. "Today, we make history," Reyes said, her voice steady but charged with resolve. "They thought we begged for mercy. They will learn that humanity demands respect, and we take it with fire and steel." The enemy fleet loomed on the horizon, a swirling mass of alien warships intent on crushing the human uprising before it could truly ignite. Their flagship, a monstrous vessel coated in dark armour and bristling with weapons, seemed to sneer through the void. The battle commenced with a volley of plasma bursts and railgun salvos, lighting the space between them with deadly intent. The Coalition unleashed everything they had, expecting Earth's fleet to crumble beneath their might. But Earth fought differently. Human pilots weaved through incoming fire with fierce determination. Ships absorbed damage and kept fighting. Earth's fleet fractured the enemy formations, exploiting weak points discovered through months of guerrilla warfare and relentless scouting. Amid the chaos, Captain Reyes took command of a strike group targeting the enemy flagship. The Resolve's gravity well projectors rippled, disrupting enemy shields and communications. "Now fire everything," Reyes ordered. The Resolve's weapons screamed, a storm of plasma, railgun slugs and quantum disruptors smashing into the enemy's heart. The flagship staggered, systems failing as its crew scrambled to respond. As the flagship faltered, coalition coordination faltered with it. Confusion spread. Old rivalries erupted as factions blamed each other for the setback. The fragile unity shattered like glass. Earth's fleet pressed the advantage. In the midst of the wreckage, Lieutenant Jessakim's fighter squadron executed a daring assault, targeting the coalition supply vessels. With swift precision, they crippled enemy logistics, sealing the enemy's fate. The battle ended with the coalition's retreat, a chaotic withdrawal as their fleets fractured and fled. Humanity's warships had stood firm. They had not begged. They had not faltered. Reyes addressed her crew as the dust settled. "We fought as one. We fought for Earth, for every colony, for the right to stand tall in this galaxy. This victory is ours, but it is only the beginning." The war was far from over, but the message was clear. Humanity didn't beg, humanity conquered. The galaxy's silence shattered. Where once there had been doubt and dismissal, now there was fear and respect. Earth's fleet had not only survived the greatest onslaught the Coalition could muster, but had shattered it. The skies once filled with laughter now echoed with the rumble of human warships, a dreadnought chorus declaring a new order. Captain Liana Reyes stood on the bridge of the ISS Resolve, the stars shining cold and clear beyond the viewport. Around her, the crew moved with a quiet pride. They had made history, turning the tide of a war many believed they would lose before it began. "The Coalition won't dare strike at us again," Reyes said softly, "not without thinking twice. We've shown them humanity's heart, unyielding, fierce, and unwilling to bow." The aftermath was a whirlwind of diplomacy and rebuilding. Earth did not seek empire through conquest, but forged alliances with those who respected strength tempered by honor. Former enemies approached cautiously, many eager to learn from the species that refused to beg. Earth's warships became symbols of that strength. They were no longer just vessels of war, but ambassadors of humanity's will, courage, and relentless drive to survive and thrive. In the weeks that followed, Captain Reyes received a message from a distant system, one long overlooked by the galactic powers. "Your victory has inspired us," the message read. "We stand with Earth." One by one, stars flickered to life across the map. New allies, new voices joining the chorus. Humanity was no longer a footnote, it was a force shaping the future of the galaxy. Reyes looked out into the vast expanse, the horizon stretching toward infinite possibility. "Humanity doesn't beg," she whispered. "We don't plead for our place in the stars, we take it." And as Earth's warships sailed onward, their banners proud and unyielding, the galaxy knew one truth above all else: when humanity rises, it does so with fire,